too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money and the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. So if you're black and intelligent, throw your hands up. I want to welcome you guys to the platform. If you're not black and intelligent, then you are welcome to get the fuck out, because this is a platform for smart black people, or those who want to be smart. Stupid people need to stay home, because you're probably brainwashed already. So if you're open-minded, throw your hands up. Let me know that you're here. Hashtag B1 means you're black first. We're black before we're anything else. We're also open-minded, and I want you guys to hear all the facts and information so you can make your own decision. What's up on Instagram? My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. How you guys doing? Good to see you. God bless all of you. I love you very much. So let me hop in here and get started on this, because y'all know how I get. I get into stuff and I start talking about all kinds of stuff. There is an interesting case that evolved with 2 attorneys out of Brooklyn by the name of Collinford Matisse and Uruj Rahman. I guess Uruj, I don't know if that's an Indian name or what. Collinford looks like a brother. And they are charged. They are facing life in prison. 2 lawyers facing life in prison for throwing a Molotov cocktail at the New York City Police Department at a vehicle during the police brutality protests in New York City. So I'm going to try to skim through what CNN has written about these 2 lawyers. This is an interesting case. So they said, let's see, they were something about a birthday party. Okay, they met at a birthday party, and they were both studying law at Fordham. Oh, Fordham. Okay, I actually just a little stupid footnote. I was actually admitted to Fordham Law School, and I just didn't go. But I remember getting the acceptance letter, and also I think they're connected to Columbia, and I actually got into Columbia, and I chose not to go there too, but my goddaughter did. Anyway, let me keep going. So these 2 lawyers, they're 31 and 32 years old. They're facing federal charges alleging that they participated in a Molotov cocktail attack on an empty New York City Police Department vehicle during protests sparked by the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. The promising young lawyers with enviable educational pedigrees and significant familiar responsibilities, he's raising 3 foster children, she's a primary caretaker for her elderly mother, suddenly find themselves detainees indicted on 7 federal felony charges for which they face life in prison. Their predicament has puzzled not only family and friends, but also prosecutors themselves. So they're talking more about, who they are as people, and I want to get to the facts. I like facts. Let's see here. A former colleague of Rahman's, Alicia Bell, said she couldn't reconcile the charges with the person she knew. I'm very surprised, etc., etc., etc. Prosecutors say the 2 lawyers drove Matisse's tan minivan late in the evening, May 29th, to participate in widespread protests in Brooklyn's Fort Greene neighborhood. There, just before 1 a.m. on May 30th, Rahman approached an empty NYPD vehicle with an already broken window and tossed a makeshift explosive device, according to court filings. She also attempted to distribute Molotov cocktails to several other individuals and to incite them to use the Molotov cocktails in the course of the protests. Ooh, she's about it. Okay. Alrighty then. What y'all think about this? I'm tripping. Okay. So the van, driven by Matisse, then fled the scene, court documents say, and shortly thereafter, police stopped the vehicle and found precursor items to build explosives, including a lighter, a Bud Light bottle stuffed with toilet paper, and a gasoline tank. Both Matisse and Rahman have been indicted on charges including the use of explosives, arson, and civil disorder. They haven't entered a plea. Though the alleged actions of the 2 did not cause physical harm to any individual, their behavior, as described by prosecutors, came at the height of both the protests that swept the city and an eruption of destructive looting and property damage that sparked days of tension between police and those who were taken to the streets. By all accounts, their alleged actions stand in contrast to their nature. According to friends and lawyers in a review of their professional experiences, Matisse and Rahman are lifelong social justice advocates with deep interest in civil rights and police reform. Okay, so it looks like they go deeper into who they are as people. So I think that if we were to cut through the legal or all the journalistic mumbo jumbo, basically the most articulate way to define their situation is to say that they are both royally fucked. So they're both pretty fucked. So what y'all think? Now here's what's interesting, right? So I'm looking at this, right? and I see a brother. He's a brother, and the lady's not. They said they use the term people of color, and that's usually, I guess, inclusive of everybody who's not white. And she's, I guess she looks maybe Indian or something like that. And when you think about these protests, it's really interesting how you have the people that were peacefully protesting, and then you have the people that show up with Molotov cocktails and bulletproof vests and and bricks and baseball bats and makeshift explosive devices designed to do maximum damage and gasoline. Right? Like it's like you have two different agendas, and and I think it's really interesting. I will say for sure, I think most of us can agree. I hope we can agree. Let me know in your comments how you feel about this. They don't deserve life in prison. I think they're facing something like 45 years. I saw the number 45 somewhere. That's a long time. They don't deserve that, right? And they were fighting for a good cause. But what it does kind of make me wonder is what was really going on. Like, what was it that, that led you to get to the point where that made sense, or you thought you could do that, and that you weren't going to possibly be facing significant time in prison? Because when you get to where you're blowing things up, you're taking things to another level, right? When you get to the point where you're blowing things up, that would technically allow some people to define you as a terrorist. So I'm not telling you not to blow shit up. I'm not telling you what to do. Y'all know me. I don't like to tell black people or anybody what to do. But just know that, that when you decide to start blowing things up, busting out windows, burning down buildings, or shooting people, it's the urgency of your case gets elevated in the eyes of the Fed. You go from being just one of thousands of protesters to being that person that they've got to go lock up today, right? And the person they got to lock up and make an example of, and all this other stuff. So my hope is that because they're lawyers, I'm hoping that they have a good defense and they can protect themselves and defend themselves. But this also makes me think about this. I look at this brother, and he's with this person who's not black, and she's pulling him into this really super hyper, very aggressive liberal space, that far left space. I told you that. They tried to recruit me too. I remember, and they used the death of Michael Brown to try to recruit me, and I just said, no, thank you. That's not who I am. Like, my family's not a liberal family. We're not Republicans, but we're not liberal. We're conservative in the sense of, like, we don't, I'm not real cool with abortion. Abortion makes me uncomfortable. I don't have a problem with fathers in the home. I think that's a good thing. I'm not with the Me Too movement. I'm not with all the LGBT, stuff. I'm not saying I'm against it. I just don't give a shit. I don't care who you're having sex with, and I don't need you to come and tell me and then expect me to somehow clap because you're sleeping with a dude. Like, I don't care. I just really don't care. Congratulations. Good for you. If that makes you happy, then God bless you. Go for it, man. Do what you do. You do you. But here's the thing, in that space, I know that that's how I was raised. I was raised in a space with personal responsibility. And I remember growing up and having my parents say, be careful when you go out here running around with these other kids who are not black. It might be white kids or just maybe the crazy liberal kids, because they don't understand personal responsibility. Like, they really do kind of have a type of entitlement and privilege that I believe leads them to think they can do things like blow up a police car and not get 45 years in prison. I'm a black man. I know that if I sneeze too loud, I might get some time in jail for that, right? So you have a different disposition. And I remember when we were on campus back in the day at the University of Kentucky, one of the most racist schools you'll ever attend. Don't send your kids there. Very racist, still is. And I remember we had a protest, and I was one of the leaders of the protest, because back then I used to write articles, and I was pretty well known on the campus, and which made me a target. I had to be really careful when I was on that campus, because I knew some people wanted to get rid of me. And I remember we were trying to plan how we were going to protest something that happened to a black woman. And so everybody's throwing their ideas on the table, and we're just trying to come up with whatever we can. And there was one girl in the group who, she was a white girl, but she was European white. So, she wasn't American white. American white means you're probably like racist, or you have an issue with black people most of the time. But she's European white, which means, she actually really wanted to be around us. Like, she felt completely comfortable around black people. And so we let her in. She was cool. Jacqueline, I think that was her name. And it was really interesting how we would all lay out our ideas on the table and be like, oh, we can hold a march, we can do a rally, we can do a silent protest. We're just thinking about things we could do. She's like, no, let's go in the administration building, take it over with guns, and then we can burn it down. And this she's literally, and we're like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Like, you know, like we ain't trying to get kicked out of school. We ain't trying to go to jail. We ain't trying to get beat upside the head with billy clubs. And I remember just kind of like the difference in disposition. Like, and you think about it, it makes sense, right? She's French. She's, you know, she has that blood of the French revolutions where they would take people to the middle of town square and chop their heads off and everything else. Black people don't really operate like that, right? And I think that there are people that will try to instigate you, and they will elevate and accelerate things because they're thinking pure 100% revolution. And I don't really know if black people are built that way. I don't know if black people are sitting around talking about, let's go just kill everybody and take the revolution. Because if we were thinking that way, we probably could have freed ourselves from slavery back in like probably 1705, right? Just keeping it 100. Nat Turner, you know, he took it to that level. And then black people were like, well, damn, you saw what happened to him. So I don't even know if it's a good thing about us. Maybe we should be more revolutionary. But I'm really just kind of thinking about whether or not these two people really knew what they were getting into. I think that's the point, right? I'm not one to tell you what to do. And I get this from my mother. My mother was like, I'm not really going to tell you what to do. I just want you to know the consequences. Always make sure that you think about the consequences because every decision has consequences. So what do you guys think? I mean, I don't think that they deserve all that time in prison. But do you think, like, if you had a friend that was, you know, rolling with you to the protests and they had Molotov cocktails and wanted to blow up a police car and were handing out Molotov cocktails, I mean, again, according to what this lady's being accused of, would you be like cool, or would you say, no, I'm not really about that, I'm not interested in going that far? I don't know. I'd be curious to know what you guys think. I don't even have an opinion. I just think it's interesting and fucked up, you know, sad just all the way around. And it wasn't as if they weren't fighting for a just cause, but I think that, you know, I really think that her not being black played some part in this. Like, I almost feel like black people get pulled into stuff, you know, and I'm not a fan of that. Like, if you're gonna do something crazy, go do it because that's what you want to do. Don't do it because somebody pulled you into it. Because believe me, when the consequences come flying, they're still going to remember you a black man, and your consequences are going to be different from everybody else's. That's my 2 cents. That's what I believe, and I'm sticking to it. So I'm out of here, guys. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you want to follow me on Instagram, follow me at The Real Boyce Watkins. Also, we're doing Black Movie Night. You guys know we're building a black-owned movie industry, so if you'd like to join us for Black Movie Night, we're going to watch a film. It's totally free, and it's going to be really good. It's called The Black Love Blueprint, and it's actually on Amazon, too. Amazon Prime. We got our film on Amazon Prime, so you can watch it there also. But we'd like for you to come to Black Movie Night because Black Movie Night's cool. It's like all of us hanging out and kind of doing this thing. So feel free to register RSVP at blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. So thank you guys for hanging out. Love you. I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money and the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on